we're going to talk about pulleys and mechanical advantage for a little bit. This is something that is very useful to know and can get you out of a lot of trouble very quickly and easily if you understand the concepts. So, to start, we're going to look at just this bucket here. This bucket has all sorts of steel, pulleys, things like that. It's heavy. We're going to see how heavy it is here just so we have a baseline for comparison. So I've got this little scale here, and I'm going to show you on this scale that if I lift this up, it's right about 38.2 pounds. So I've got almost 40 pounds worth of steel in this bucket right now. And as you can imagine, that's going to be pretty annoying, things that I don't really want to lift, especially if I'm trying to lift this all the way up to a grid or something like that. Imagine this is like a source 4 or a couple source 4s that I need to go up to the grid with. I could be all the way up there at that grid, pulling all that and lifting it up this way with a rope. But as you can imagine, that's going to get really annoying really fast. So what I can do to help myself is add a pulley into the mix. The advantage of a pulley is, I've got a couple of advantages actually. First one we're going to talk about is just redirection. What I mean by that is it's going to be a lot easier, especially for me up top, if I have somebody else down on the ground pull on this rope for me. It's a whole lot easier to pull things towards you and pull downward. That way you can lean into it and help your body weight help you, as opposed to trying to hulk it all the way up this way, do this sort of thing. Instead, I can come over here and I can just start pulling on this rope and I can lift this up. There's a couple things going on here that we need to talk about. First one being, this is a 1-to-1 mechanical advantage. What that means is I don't really have any mechanical advantage with this. For every pound that I am pulling on this rope, I have a pound that I'm lifting over here. So if this is roughly 40 pounds, I'm lifting roughly 40 pounds over here. Now this is where things get a little tricky, and I'll show you this as well, is if I've got 40 pounds of weight pulling on this side, and 40 pounds of weight pulling on this side, I'm actually pulling down with 80 pounds worth of force over here. And that is something else that I'm going to demonstrate to you guys real quick. And what I say, this was 38 pounds, I think 38.2, which means once I get this all set up, 76.4 pounds is what I'm actually lifting here. So we're going to lift this up, and I will show you on the scale. I am about 76 pounds. So we're pretty close to exactly what the theory says, is that I should be lifting almost 80 pounds, or that 38 and some change times 2 is actually my 76 pounds. So right up here, or right here on this pulley, I'm lifting 76 pounds, even though I've only got 38 pounds here in the bucket. That is something to keep in mind as you are lifting something up. Just because it weighs a certain amount here, I need to make sure I can lift at least double up above that pulley, because I'm doing a minimum of that. So that's pretty simple, straightforward system of a 1-to-1 mechanical advantage. I'm going to take a minute, pause the video, and I'm going to set this up to show you a more complex system that gives you a lot more mechanical advantage. So I'll be back in just a sec. Alright, So I'm now back with my pulley system here. At this point, pulleys are known as a few different things. And once you start to get into multiple lines like this is going to be a block and fall or a block and tackle system. So in this pulley here, this is considered a block. It's got a single pulley or sheave within this block. This guy that I've got right here, it has 3 pulleys in it. So this would be a 3 shiv block. And down here I have a 2 shiv block. So I've got my hand line here, which I do not count as part of my mechanical advantage because this is just a redirection line. So if I ignore this hand line, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines here. So I have a 5-to-1 mechanical advantage. We've said that that bucket is just under 40 pounds. So for every pound of lift I apply onto this rope here, I'm applying 5 pounds to this system. So that 40-pound bucket divided by 5 gives me 8 pounds of lift. So as long as I'm just lifting 8 pounds here, I'm lifting up that 40-pound bucket. Now the downside to this means I need this much more rope in the system, and for a 5-to-1 system, I need 5 times the length of rope that I would need if this was a 1-to-1. So to lift this thing up 2 feet, that means I need 10 feet worth of rope. 5 times 2 gives me my 10 feet. So, but it's going to be super easy to lift. And say I want to lift a 500-pound item, normally there's no way I'd do that. But with a system like this, I now only need to lift 100 pounds of it in order to get that lift. So, quick demonstration, pull on this rope. Squeaky pulley, but you can see I've pulled this 4 feet worth of rope and I've only lifted maybe 8 or 9 inches up off the ground. But I can keep lifting and this will keep going up. It is just that simple. And now I'm going to go ahead and put that scale back onto my line here. And then we're going to confirm what we think as far as how much weight we are actually lifting. So if I hook this on, I'm sorry it's upside down. I've got 8.2. So it's a little over because there's probably a little bit of friction in all this rope, so it adds to it a little bit. But you can see constant pull. Yeah, somewhere between 7 and 8-ish. So that's pretty much right where we said it was going to be. So key takeaways from this is every line you add to the system is that much less that you have to lift. And it's just all about mechanical advantage and counting your lines. So my 5-to-1 means I'm lifting only 1/5 of the weight, but I need 5 times the amount of rope for the distance I need to lift this. That is mechanical advantage of pulleys in a nutshell. Thank you.